What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter video. In our last video by Fatalis, we saw 10 monsters that we did not want to see return to Monster Hunter Wilds or any of the games right after that. If you have not seen that video, please take a look at that video with my last video, and you'll also see it at the end of this video here. Now, today, we're going to be looking at a video from Josh White, the top 10 most wanted monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm hoping to see Brachydos because Brachydos is one of my favorite monsters, and I just love its concept, its idea. I just love the fight. And the last time we saw it was in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, so I would love to see it here. But with that being said, let's take a look at this video. And just starting off right out the gate. Wow, look at all this. Look at all this. You got the Rathalos head. It's very Nintendo themed. There's some Final Fantasy there, which isn't Nintendo, but there's just a lot of Nintendo references here. Pokemon, Mario. I like it. That's really clean, really nice.
What's going on, my fellow hunters? With each passing month, we are drawing closer to the release of the highly anticipated Monster Hunter Wilds. And as with every game in the series, we always get to see some monsters return from previous entries.
Yep.
So, here are my top 10 most wanted monsters that I want to see in Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 1, Glavinus.
This is a really solid pick. Really solid pick. I also think Glavinus will fit very well just within what Wilds is doing. Really cool monster. I mean, we have the chicken monster that looks like Glavinus. Why not bring Glavinus back as well?
Okay, so if you've been around my channel for a while, this one here was an obvious choice. I'm 100% a Glavinus stan, no shame about it. I think it's the coolest monster in the entire series, and as a creature concept artist myself, I believe it's one of the best designed monsters I've ever seen in any franchise.
I can agree.
And even
Absolutely.
though we did get to see it make its triumphant return in Iceborne, I want more. I want to see this blazing theropod in high quality
So amazing.
thrashing its massive greatsword tail across my screen.
It would also work very well too, because I know there's different hordes of monsters in this. Would be extremely terrifying to see a horde of Glavinus though.
Everything about this dino, from its Carnotaur inspired aesthetic to its genius theme of incorporating the best weapon in the entire series into its damn tail.
Wrong. It's a switch axe.
It's an automatic choice for me. Now with that said, if we're getting down to the real specifics, what I want most is the deviant form of this beast, the Hellblade Glavinus.
Yeah,
just because
Hellblade's
it
even
takes
cooler.
the standard design and cranks up the badass factor to even greater heights.
Way more
An
damage,
absolute
way
example
faster.
Of everything I love about Capcom's monster designs. So please, I beg of you, Capcom, give us the Blazing Black Knight in Monster Hunter Wilds.
This is who I want to see here. I mean, I know this is the Ivory Legris. I don't care. I just want to see the regular one. In our last video, we were talking about Gameth a lot too, actually. Not in regards to being one of the monsters that we don't want in the game, but it was in regards to one that was there, that was in the Fated 4. I'm not going to say who it was because you guys should check it out. But we did bring up Gameth, and Gameth is definitely a hot topic in coming into Wilds. Again, with a lot of hordes, it's literally perfect.
Number 2, Gamoth. Now, this is a monster that I feel has a really high chance of...
I don't think we've seen this since GU.
I always felt like it was a huge missed opportunity not having Gamoth in Iceborne, but I completely understand that the locale just didn't have large enough environments to suit this massive snow-clad behemoth. But since Wilds is going to have much more of that large open world theme, there shouldn't be any excuse as to why we don't get that Fang beast.
And it makes sense.
I've always been fond of the creatures in this series that don't have any real dragon-like aesthetics to their designs.
I think they're cool too.
I've always welcomed more large mammalian-type beasts just because they aren't as common in the series, and I feel like there's just...
Yeah, and that makes just monster hunting seem more realistic when there's just big, just monsters or like animal-like creatures
so
too.
Much untapped potential there. And I love me some prehistoric megafauna from the Ice Age, so Gamoth for me is an absolute top-tier creature in the series. I can just imagine what it would be like to ride into a vast frozen tundra with my sacred mount and come across this gargantuan beast.
That'd be cool. And the game has shown us that they have made some larger monsters in the game already. So this is like right in the wheelhouse.
So damn epic, and I want to experience tons of moments like that in such a large and ambitious game.
And if there's a snow area, very fitting.
Number 3, Legris.
Yep.
A big time favorite amongst the entire Monster Hunter community, myself included.
Monster Hunter try right here, man.
I feel like is an absolute must to include in Wilds.
I absolutely agree, because I think this is another monster we haven't seen since GU as well. I personally started playing Monster Hunter, just the whole Monster Hunter franchise, in Monster Hunter Try, and that's where Legris was in there, and that's where the underwater fighting was there. So I really fell in love just with this design and just who this monster is. So it would be really cool for them to bring them back into Wilds, especially with how the water mechanics work in there too.
We're disappointed we didn't get to see
really
this
good
thunderous Leviathan in Monster Hunter World, especially since the earliest footage of that game had shown off Legris before ultimately being scrapped. I think the developers said at the time it was just too difficult to rig the skeleton and animations or something like that. But as we know, Balahara, which is one of the new monsters showing up in Wilds, has a very similar skeletal structure to the Great Legris. So I feel like there's no excuse now to not include it in the game.
It's true. Very true.
Fantastic creature design with really cool elemental attacks and attributes, and definitely one of my favorites in the entire
And the armor and the weapon are just so cool.
Capcom gives the fans what we want and brings back the Lord of the Seas.
They should do it like a siege, kind of like how they do with Kulturoth. They should just make Legris just a crazy monster, and then you just have to battle it like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
The Morans.
Okay, we're talking more humongous monsters. It will be cool to see these guys. Absolutely, I agree.
Now, this is like a 2-for-1 here, because ultimately, I think the most important thing is that I just want to experience an epic battle aboard a sand ship taking...
And like I said, I mean, having these siege fights again in this game would be really cool, especially with the 16-player lobbies that they just talked about the other day. I think this would be very fitting.
On one of these kaiju-sized beasts. Personally, I like Gen Moran's design slightly more, so I would prefer it to Duran Moran, but I would be happy with either one. As someone who never got to personally experience the gameplay of taking on the Morans and only seeing YouTube videos of the encounter, I would really love the opportunity to face them in Wilds.
It would be cool.
Fit perfectly here just because of how expansive the locales will be, and because we've already seen a desert biome and even gotten a brief shot of the sand ship in one of the trailers. I feel like this one is a no-brainer really, and it's always refreshing to have some encounters that are different from what you typically experience throughout the game.
Absolutely.
Number 5, Monobos.
Oh, this is so cool. I mean, in all of the other variations of the game, we've had Diablos, right? Which is not Monoblos, obviously. They have similar designs, but I feel like Monoblos is way more aggressive and way more faster. You know, when you're fighting something like Diablos, it's very, I don't know, you kind of can understand how the fight's going to go. You kind of can know what the monster's going to do just the way that he attacks. But Monoblos is like the opposite. So this would be cool to see too. Absolutely.
Between the two main ceratopsian-like wyverns in the series, I've always preferred this dude over Diablos. I just think its face looks way better, honestly. And since Diablos has gotten tons of love lately with appearances throughout various games and even that live-action movie.
I forgot about that.
I feel like Monoblos' time to shine is now.
That would be really cool.
The only Monster Hunter game that I've played where it made an appearance was Monster Hunter Stories 2, which, by the way, I really hope we get a sequel to, since it's a better Pokemon game than any...
I absolutely agree with that too. I really like Monster Hunter Stories. It's so cool. It's so fun. I'm a big fan of turn-based games too, so just having that and mixed with Monster Hunter is just phenomenal. The next one, if they do make another one, if they make Monster Hunter Stories 3, I want to switch acts in there.
The actual Pokemon game that's been released in the past decade. So I would really like to see this horned wyvern erupting from the desert sands in Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh.
Number 6.
That's so funny. I just saw a post on, God, I think it was YouTube. And it was this guy, and he was going against blue water, like an ice fish thingy-mabobber, and people were voting on who they would rather have back. And they picked the shark thing. I mean, it starts with the, I can't remember. It starts with a Z. You guys know what I'm talking about. It starts with a Z, and they're comparing these two. And then they wanted to bring the other one back. And I actually voted for Tabra, whatever its name is, if I pronounce that correctly. But this was my experience in GU. And it's a pretty cool, like, intro low rank monster that could transition into higher rank. It's not something you're going to fight later in the game, but it would be cool to see this come back into the game.
Tabra. A personal favorite of mine, this demon frog is one of the absolute coolest looking amphibian designs I've...
And it was a very annoying fight too, in Generations.
I just love bulky, mean looking creatures that have giant tusks. A lot of my own creatures I designed have that style.
Oh my goodness. This kind of looks like Nurg mixed with Diablos up here, mixed with like Rathalos there. Holy crap. That's a really awesome design.
As well. In general, I feel like the
they should throw that in Monster Hunter
series are some of the coolest overall. They're all great looking creatures. It's just unfortunate that there are only a handful of them throughout the entire 20 plus years that the franchise has existed. I love the newest addition to the series with Tabra, who has already become a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
So if we could get at least another
have another little frog, that'd be cool.
Ecstatic.
That'd be really cool.
Having this dude in the game would make up for the fact that it wasn't a tameable monstie in Monster Hunter Stories 2, which I feel was an absolute tragedy.
Big letdown.
Froggies Capcom, I want them.
And they actually had this in the lobby of Monster Hunter Rise as well. The Tabra.
Number 7, Yukon.
I actually do not know who this is. This monster does look really cool. I'm assuming this must be from like Frontier, or maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I have no clue. I don't know who this monster is, so let me find out, I guess.
This shovel-faced tyrant of the ice is another creature in the series that I've only been able to admire from afar since I've never had the opportunity to face it in-game. And just as I had mentioned earlier about Wilds being the perfect time to bring back Gammoth, I feel the same with this armored titan. I absolutely love how its design bears a resemblance to one of my favorite species of prehistoric fish, the Dunkleosteus. Its heavily armored carapace is lined with jagged ridges, and its massive jaws look like they could crush even the mightiest of monsters' bones. Yukon is the perfect style of monster that I would just love to bonk on the head with a mighty hammer and break off chunks of that heavily armored white carapace.
That thing does look really cool, actually. Like I said, I've never seen it before. I mean, wow.
Number 8, Akintor.
Akintor is exactly who I was just talking about too on one of my last videos as well. Not in regards to it not being in the game. This isn't a monster that I would definitely like to have in the game. I think the last time we saw this was World. Yeah, Monster Hunter World. Very fun fight.
If I'm going to have Yukon on this list, it's only fitting to have its counterpart, the infernal black god, Akintor. Long before I ever got into actually playing any games in the Monster Hunter series, this dude here was the very first monster that I was ever introduced to.
Oh wait, no, this isn't the same monster.
I remember going down the YouTube rabbit
This isn't the one that I was thinking about.
15 years ago and stumbling onto this volcanic monstrosity. I thought it was one of the coolest looking creature designs I had ever seen, and I had zero clue about what Monster Hunter even was. I was just like,
holy crap, this thing looks super cool. And if there is some kind of like lava or volcanic or hot place, this, wow, I love the design. It looks really cool. There's all the nice spikes and stuff.
Video game
I like it.
Where you battle tons of these awesome looking beasts while wielding these.
I mean, it looks like a cooler Bizarrios, yeah.
And sporting the armor that you craft from their dead bodies. Why have I not heard about this or ever even seen the games on the shelves at GameStop? Fast forward to current days, and now Monster Hunter has become one of my favorite video game franchises.
It's probably the best one.
I would absolutely love to see Akintor here make its triumphant return with Monster Hunter Wilds to just bring everything full circle for me, so I can finally confront the very creature that brought this series into my life. Number 9, Malzeno.
Wow, that's a hot take. Malzeno is really cool. Probably one of my favorite, or I'd probably say top 5 in favorite monster with design, lore, armor, weapon. Like, Malzeno's such a badass creature. I think Malzeno's story fit very well into where it was with Monster Hunter Sunbreak, but I don't know if we're gonna see Malzeno that fast again. It would be cool. It would be cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I just don't think this one's gonna happen.
Now, I know we literally just got this Elder Dragon with the Sunbreak expansion for Monster Hunter Rise, so it's not like some classic monster from back in the day. But for me, this is one of my favorite creature designs in the entire series, and I would love to see how it looks in a much higher fidelity game like Wilds. I've always loved the old school monster tropes like vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Something like Dracula is a 10 out of 10 for me. It was such a fun fight in Sunbreak, and it had some of the coolest looking armor and weapons as well. I feel like Monster Hunter Rise in general gets a lot of unfair hate thrown its way.
It does.
And I'm not saying it's a perfect game or anything.
It does. Everyone just hates it because it wasn't Worlds. That's the only reason why everyone hates Sunbreak or Rise/Sunbreak is because it was not Monster Hunter Worlds. Now, keep in mind, it's not going to be, right? And you have to evolve the game somehow. So they're doing something that was a little bit risky or whatever. But in my opinion, it was very much worth it because it showed what a lot of our weapons can do in just different like fighting styles. And I think it really like just changed how people view weapons in the game, made them a lot faster. It gave a lot of them more defensive mechanics or more counter mechanics, whatever the case was. So I personally think Monster Hunter Rise was a very good addition to like the Monster Hunter series.
Anything like that. But because of that, I would really like to see Malzeno get a second appearance here in Wilds.
It would be cool.
Audience can get
it would be cool.
I believe is one of the best monsters in the series. Number 10, White Fatalis.
I haven't seen White Fatalis since GU, I think, as well. I've only fought it maybe once or twice, and I just did it in a group fight, so I didn't like fully experience the lead up and everything to it. And I think they probably carried me or something. So I haven't experienced this fight itself. I did fight their just regular Fatalis and Monster Hunter Iceborne. Very fun fight. The siege was really, really cool. With the scaling in this game, we've seen really large creatures, so it'd be cool to have it back. I guess it all depends on what they're doing with the story and how the story goes. I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, if so, they could at least add it as maybe like a DLC monster.
While the other Fatalis species are really cool in their own right, I personally feel like White Fatalis is the best of the three by far. Rather than just looking like a dark, scaly, classical European dragon, this ancestral dragon has way more interesting characteristics to its design.
It does, I mean,
its body is covered in
not wrong about
white
that.
Scales. Its face and spine are lined with fur. It boasts these mystical looking
ooh, look at the switch axe. Look at that switch axe. Holy crap. And the armor, it's so beautiful. It's literally the best weapon in the game.
And oh yeah.
Oh my lord.
Red fucking lightning, bro. Come on now, what are we even talking about here?
That's
How
so
can
cool.
you not be in all of this
Holy
stuff? When
crap.
I see White Fatalis, I don't see some regular Elder Dragon. I see a dragon god. I think it would make it the perfect true endgame boss of Monster Hunter Wilds, especially because weather effects are being emphasized as a big part of the game. I would love to see how epic they can make this fight with all the crazy storm effects and red lightning cracking down upon the earth while you take on this divine ancient beast.
that would be a very cool like immersive situation.
Folks, that's my top 10 most wanted monsters that I would like to see make an appearance in Monster Hunter Wilds. Let me know in the comments down below which creatures from the series you would like to see in the game. And do me a solid, if you like the vid, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And also subscribe to the damn channel if you want to see more of my content.
Absolutely, we're doing that.
Here, and I want to recruit you.
We're doing it right now.
Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, another amazing video. Thank you, Josh White, for the pure entertainment. You did such a good job. Amazing writing, amazing choices. And I agree. I mean, a lot of these monsters that you picked would be really, really cool to bring into the game. Again, me personally, I would like to see Bracky. Are we going to? Who knows? I mean, it would be really cool. Either that or Raging Bracky 2. It would just be really cool. Now, will that happen? Again, we'll just have to see when the game comes out, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Guys, I'm going to have Josh White's video linked in the comments, so make sure you guys check out the video. Wonderful video. You guys sub to the channel. Make sure you give his video a thumbs up. Just support people in the community. Wow, I like the video. All right, guys. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.